Hello tout le monde, c'est Mio, j'espère que vous allez bien. On se retrouve pour l'épisode 47 de Tales of Arise. Alors les amis, dans le dernier épisode on en avait appris plus sur Shion et du coup ça a approfondi les liens qu'elle a avec tous les autres personnages et j'ai vraiment adoré cet épisode. Du coup on en a profité pour retourner faire 2-3 petites quêtes parce que justement on a trouvé le vaisseau et on va très bientôt décoller sur l'Enegis. Du coup les amis, j'ai préféré faire un dernier petit tour pour voir si j'avais rien oublié. Il nous reste bien entendu des quêtes, le temple spirituel et la forêt des hiboux que l'on ne peut pas terminer pour le moment, tout simplement parce que je n'ai pas du tout le niveau pour le temple et les hiboux, je les trouve pas, donc je pense que c'est par la suite. De toute manière, on sera forcément amené à revenir. Il y a aussi le terrain d'entraînement de Vicinte. J'ai été y faire un petit tour, mais j'ai pas le niveau encore. J'ai tout fait sauf les combats solo qui, pour moi, sont trop énervants. Donc je vais attendre de level up un peu et je reviendrai un peu plus tard. Donc les amis, on est parti, on va décoller. Are you ready? Let's go. Et bien entendu, j'espère que tout le monde va bien. Hop, décoller. Ah oui, j'ai changé leur tenue, c'est vrai, j'avais complètement zappé.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
La, don't say that. You're going to jinx us.
Speaking of which, Alphen, is Bucket of Bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
C'est pas si mal. Elle a l'air d'y tenir.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but, well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Fall Knights. Non, c'est stylé.
Okay, people, we have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good?
Sans la tuer, bien sûr.
All right, and let's go.
Ok, c'est rapide là. C'est expéditif ton histoire. Wow.
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Votre groupe s'est séparé.
You seem a little different.
Different?
Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It suits you.
Ok, donc il faut parler à tout le monde. Mais c'est trop beau. C'est ça les Négis, c'est trop beau. Ok, bon, on va aller voir d'abord ailleurs si j'y suis. Donc il y en a deux là, deux là-bas. Je vais aller voir plus loin. Mais c'est trop grand ton histoire là. C'est quoi ça? Rien, d'accord. Putain, en face c'est pareil, évidemment. Et ici, il y a Kisara.
You okay? Feeling airsick?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all.
Oh.
These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered.
Ouais, c'est clair.
Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside of it.
It's a healing pod. It fixes injuries and illnesses.
Oh, trop cool.
Oh, you don't say. That should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while
C'est
we're down
clair.
there. Alphen? Was it something I said?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. What with the ceremony and losing control, I was a total mess. Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But that mean you were inside for 300 years?
Ça fait un petit peu beaucoup là.
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am glad that it's this century that you finally woke up in.
C'est sûr.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. And not only that, but... Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia? About the dream of coexistence and needing to learn what it entailed?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you couldn't at home.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my brother's wishes. I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now, and those still to come. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Danans, wherever they might be, to be free. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen. I'll forever be grateful to you.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the Red Woman.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there, I'm through looking the other way.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
Let's go. Kisara. Donc Kisara c'est fait. Lâchons. Ah ça c'est pour descendre, d'accord. On va aller parler à ces deux-là.
Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was scared. I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can. That's all.
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renin technology. It got me to Dana in one piece, remember?
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alphen, it must be okay. Don't you agree, Law?
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen. It's just wrong, okay?
Je suis en train de s'embrouiller ces deux-là. Et enfin... Chienne.
We'll be going to Lenegus soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts to you, huh? What was life on Lenegus like back then? You know, before you came to Dana.
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life, for as long as I can remember. They called it treatment, but in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean, they experimented on you?
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my thorns or changed the form they took. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised they didn't try to dissect me. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from the pain, like I was a monster or something. Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched, helplessly complicit in their pain. I thought things couldn't get any worse, but then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming apocalypse. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness was my best friend. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine. I'm in a much better place now.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones dying to save you?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? How is that even right? It's that logic that's used to justify slavery, as if some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our own lives to save everyone else's either. If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along, isn't it?
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Xion. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in this fight. Now I see it. The true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull it off?
You bet we can pull it off. We have to. It's the only hope we have of things ever changing.
Yeah, you're right. No one's ever changed the future without aiming for the stars. We can do this. Together.
Allez. Doalim.
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegus? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me, though. You too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing matters to address. Come back and speak to me when you finish looking around the ship.
Ok. Bah, en fait, on a fait le tour déjà. Il y a autre chose? Non. Je vais lui parler direct.
Is everyone about ready? We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Let's go.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenegis.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dana. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renin ladder is considered superior to being a Danan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shion?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Ouais,
Wait
carrément.
a second. Are you? He is! Lost blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this red woman, are we expecting to find her on Lenegis?
I would
Bah,
wager
oui.
so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelagian.
Bah, c'est
If
sûr
the
et certain
Renaissance
même.
is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That red woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
Ah bon? Qu'est-ce qui se
We're about
passe?
to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there
Déjà?
are clues about your thorns out there, Shion, we'll find them.
C'est rapide, dis donc. Allez, let's go.
There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to
La
start.
zone interdite.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
And you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
Bah, si tu peux pas,
There's
personne
only
ne
one way to
pourra.
find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone.
Let's go. Des membres qui étaient partis sont revenus, yes.
Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renins. The capital city where Shion and Dohalim used to live, no less. Who knows what we'll find on the other side?
Qui sait? L'arrivée sur l'Enegis.
Thinking about what could be lurking out here is giving me the heebie-jeebies.
For such a loudmouth, you sure can be a worrywart at times.
Oh, I'm sorry. How stupid of me for wanting us to stay safe.
Would you two children stop squabbling? Or do you want everyone to know we're here?
So how many Renins actually live in this place?
I couldn't tell you exactly, though not as many as you might expect. Machines and Zeugles take care of most of the city's basic functions.
Ah bah super.
There's Zeugles out here too, huh? Sounds like we can't afford to let our guard down after
Et
all.
non, fallait pas rêver. Donc, qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? C'est pour repartir? Partir, non? Non, non, pas maintenant. On va d'abord fouiller un peu. Il n'y a rien. Ok. Ah d'accord. Oh, bah il y a du monde là. Ah oui, tout est défoncé. L'Enegis. Ton bâtiment il est un peu de traviole là, mais bon. D'accord.
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, It must have had an effect on the interior, too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
Ils en ont rien à foutre.
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Super.
Is that you?
Ah, t'es grillé.
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana then?
Heard what?
Ah, c'est une longue histoire.
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly
Bah,
have
qu'est-ce que ça
there?
peut te faire?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the
Super.
Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
Faria.
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself, okay, Do?
Faria. Alors, t'as quelque chose à dire?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dana.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here that the wedge originally came from.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens, see what we can find out.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman, too.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have a bunch of Danins poking their noses around.
C'est ce
Good
que j'allais
idea.
dire.
I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two.
Ok, bah du coup, nous on fait quoi?
The Danins among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
What are we, dogs?
Une ville totalement déchirée. C'est le cas
What
de
could
le
be
dire.
so important? It's worth destroying people's livelihoods and homes in the process. It's just unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building blocks. Someone's got an awful lot of questions to answer.
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy from Dana, and then sending it to Rena.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient. Not while we still don't know what their endgame is.
He's right. We need to stop this from happening ever again.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get moving!
Bah, ce serait bien de savoir où c'est déjà.
We don't have time to stop and chat. Let's move.
Bah, c'est vous qui parlez, les gars. Vous parlez trop. Une pensée tardive, et voilà encore. Bande de bavards.
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegis was built, it was even made with people living here in mind?
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to transform like this. But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration to avoid all this chaos.
Ordinarily, yes. You'd think so. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home, nothing more. No one knew about all this. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so, to what exactly?
Sorry, that probably sounded weird, huh?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to help you notice what you've been missing all along. This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find answers where we're going, though.
Oui, bah déjà, il faudrait commencer à lui en poser des questions.
You're right, Shion. I'm sure we will.
Allez. Ça suffit maintenant, chute. Ok, bon, toi déjà. Est-ce que l'Enegis va disparaître? Le quartier résidentiel est en train de s'effondrer. Ouais. Ouais, parlez pas, vous. Oh, les petits loulous. C'est la pagaille dans le quartier résidentiel. Entre ceux qui tombent et ceux qui reçoivent des objets sur la tête, les blessés affluent. Papy, qu'est-ce que tu dis?
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
C'est gentil, papy. Où est cet imbécile de souverain quand on a besoin de lui? Ça ne se voit pas que la ville est sans dessus-dessous? Ne tirons pas de conclusion hâtive. Je suis sûre qu'il a une bonne raison de ne pas encore s'être montré. Laissons-lui le temps. Mais je suis où? Je sors faire un petit tour et voilà que je reconnais plus rien. Je sais pas, tout est en train de s'écrouler. Plus rien n'est pareil. Je n'arrive même plus à retrouver mes parents. Ne craignez rien, les enfants. Je suis sûre qu'il y a une bonne raison à tout ça. Mais même les Zeugles sont en liberté. On a l'air en danger. Les Zeugles sont à notre service. Ils ont peut-être réussi à sortir, mais on arrivera facilement à les récupérer. Si vous êtes de vrais Rhéniens et que vous êtes fiers de l'être, alors soyez courageux. Tout va bientôt rentrer dans l'ordre. Super. Et toi? Je n'ai jamais vu d'artre de guérison aussi puissant de toute ma vie. Merci de tout cœur d'avoir pris le temps d'aider la vieille femme que je suis. Oh, cool.
Everything will be okay now.
Ouais.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Attends, je n'ai rien loupé là-bas. Je n'ai pas été vérifié partout. Hein. Non. Dans les coins, non, y a rien. Ok. Donc, bah allons-y. Toi là. Bah rien du tout. Toi tu dis quelque chose. C'est quoi ce bruit? Il vient d'où? C'est ça là?
Your lordship. Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
On parle pas de qui ça, hein.
No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise.
Et toi, tu vas te détendre.
Anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time.
Mais lui va se calmer, hein. D'un seul coup, les aigles ont arrêté d'obéir à nos ordres. On a tourné le dos à peine 2 secondes qu'ils se sont tous rués dehors. C'est la première fois qu'on voit ça. Faut interrompre le tournoi de la couronne. On ne peut pas continuer dans ces circonstances. Bonjour, madame.
Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to this city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
La bonne femme en rouge, ouais.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that...
Sur Rena?
Surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second.
Trop de
You
questions
don't
là.
think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Bah déjà, faut que vous arrêtiez de parler et qu'on trouve cette zone
One of the
interdite.
citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction.
Oui, bah taisez-vous.
Let's go find it.
La population de l'Enegis.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danon city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until
Mais
we've
bien
exhausted
sûr.
every avenue.
Ça va de soi. L'art de la conversation. Et bon, bah les gars, on est parti. Allez hop.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
Ouais.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it. How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
Voilà, bah, j'aurais bien aimé voir ça, tiens. Là-bas, on a regardé, il n'y a que dalle. Ah, oh, qu'est-ce qu'il y a encore?
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renin homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renin society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Cannabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renins in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Bah, vu les... que c'était, ouais.
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Ah, c'est une quête. Bon, eh ben on va la faire. Je ne laisserai passer aucune quête. Vous voulez savoir quel seigneur a mon soutien? Pourquoi? Vous faites campagne pour qui? Je soutiens son excellence Wolsey Teldilis. Vous le connaissez probablement mieux sous le nom de seigneur Balzef. Je sais que beaucoup le considèrent comme une brute épaisse, et croyez-moi, je suis parfaitement conscient qu'il peut parfois être agressif. Mais ce que ces gens ignorent, c'est à quel point il est protecteur envers les membres de sa maison. On peut dire que la maison Teldilis n'est pas tenue en haute estime. Nous autres, ses partisans, sommes les premiers à le reconnaître. Mais son excellence est toujours prête à se dresser face à quiconque nous voudrait du mal. Pour ça, au moins, on peut lui faire confiance. S'il se donne autant au tournoi de la couronne, c'est principalement parce qu'il veut améliorer la situation de tous les membres de sa maison. Je dois tellement à son excellence. Jamais je n'envisagerais de le quitter pour me mettre au service d'un autre seigneur. Mais bon.
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
On l'a botté, on s'en fout.
A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
Seigneur de Halim, vous êtes rentré. Et je vois que vous êtes venu avec vos subalternes. Vous souvenez-vous de moi, messire? Vous ne pouvez pas m'avoir oublié. Non seulement je suis une fidèle partisane de la maison Ilkaras, mais en plus, je suis une fervente admiratrice de sa seigneurie. À tel point que j'essaie de partager mon affection pour sa seigneurie avec quiconque veut bien m'écouter. Je m'apprêtais justement à diffuser mes nombreux écrits sur le sujet via les terminaux de communication pour que tout le monde puisse en profiter. Mais on dirait qu'ils ont été mis hors service suite aux récents événements survenus. Je n'ai donc pas pu aller au bout de ma démarche. Oh, j'ai une idée. Puisque vous êtes là, je vais vous les lire à haute voix. Il existe parmi nous un homme d'une beauté inouïe, dont chacune des paroles, chacune des syllabes prononcées relève de la poésie. Issu de la légendaire maison Ilkaras, son nom, vous le connaissez, Seigneur Dohalim. Épris de musique, il se passionne pour tous les arts. Les partitions futiles des rustres du coin ne sont pas comparables à ses splendides créations. À la simple évocation de sa prestance, si noble et si raffinée, me voilà plongé dans un état de délicieuse extase. Lorsqu'il deviendra notre souverain à tous, Rena fleurira de nouveau et notre grande civilisation entrera dans une ère de prospérité. Jusqu'à ce jour de gloire, je prierai pour sa victoire matin, midi et soir. Pouf. Alors, qu'en dites-vous, messire? J'ai laissé parler mon cœur en espérant capturer au mieux votre essence. Oh, mais attendez, j'ai oublié de mentionner le fait que sa seigneurie était un grand amateur de collection. Il faut que j'en profite, tant que les communications sont encore coupées, pour modifier mon texte et parfaire mon chef-d'œuvre. Elle m'a fatiguée, elle.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Ah bah oui, je n'avais même pas été ici. J'ai bien fait de revenir du coup. Alors là, jamais personne n'arrivera à me faire me détourner de la maison Valkyris. Hein? Qu'est-ce que vous voulez? Ne me dites pas que vous travaillez pour le seigneur Dohalim ou pour cette vipère d'Almedrea. Non! Vous m'avez fait peur. Pour répondre à votre question, ma famille est au service de la maison Valkyris depuis des générations. Et voyez-vous, je fais tout mon possible dans l'ombre pour soutenir le seigneur Ganabelt, en espérant qu'il sortira vainqueur du tournoi. Beaucoup le voient comme quelqu'un de cruel, mais, et j'insiste sur ce point, ils se méprennent lourdement. Je ne nierai pas qu'il est d'une nature impitoyable, mais malgré tout, il se démarque des autres en faisant passer les intérêts de Rena avant tout. Il pense que nous ne devrions pas rester confinés sur l'Enégis, mais que nous devrions plutôt continuer à coloniser Dana et élargir nos horizons. De cette façon, nous dominerions les deux mondes et deviendrions majoritaires à la surface de Dana. C'est pour cette raison qu'il veut être désigné souverain. Alors dites-moi, voyez-vous plus grandes et plus nobles ambitions que celle-ci? J'en doute. S'il se bat pour le pouvoir, c'est dans l'intérêt général. C'est ce qui fait de lui un seigneur exemplaire, un meilleur modèle que les autres. Bien que j'ai été dans l'incapacité de l'accompagner moi-même, mes deux fils se sont vus décerner l'honneur de le rejoindre à la surface. J'en suis extrêmement fière.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people. Yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
Ok, c'est tout. Peut-être sur la zone d'embarquement. Il y a quelqu'un d'autre qui est caché quelque part. Bon, on verra bien. Tant pis, il n'y a personne d'autre, donc j'ai pas le choix que d'y aller. On verra bien. À moins qu'il y ait d'autres personnes ici. Ah bah c'est bon, en fait il y a d'autres gens. Oh, c'est encore plus grand ici. C'est un peu moins pété par là.
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed.
Ils sont en
The
train de se
effects of
fighter.
Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Pardon me.
Ce secteur relève de la juridiction exclusive de la maison Kaineris. Je vous demande de partir immédiatement. Ne me dites pas que vous n'avez jamais entendu parler de notre célèbre maison menée d'une main de maître par la très estimée Almedrea. Si c'est le cas, je vous conseille vivement de m'écouter, ou plutôt je vous invite cordialement à le faire. Avez-vous remarqué que dans l'histoire de l'Enégis, seules quelques femmes avaient eu l'opportunité de participer au tournoi de la couronne ? Chacun y allait de sa petite théorie à ce sujet, jusqu'à ce qu'Almedrea les piétine toutes, montrant ainsi sa puissance exceptionnelle. Elle a évincé son père, alors chef de famille, et s'est aussi débarrassée de son grand frère, qui revendiquait la place laissée vacante. C'est une femme qui ne recule devant rien pour obtenir ce qu'elle veut et qui ne laisse à son ennemi pas la moindre petite chance d'attaquer. En un mot, Almedrea est une femme pleine de talent. Personne sur Rena n'incarne mieux qu'elle les vertus de la méritocratie de notre nation. L'Enégis entrera bientôt dans une ère où une femme exceptionnelle aura le pouvoir. Ouais, bah ce sera pas Almedrea, ma belle.
I guess she'll... Willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Viande de mouton. Ok. Vous dites quoi, les gars? Que se passe-t-il? Je ne comprends pas. Il n'y a pas eu le décret habituel, ni quoi que ce soit d'autre pour annoncer cet événement. Tu as raison. Et même si c'était un accident, il est étrange que nous n'ayons toujours pas eu de communiqué de la part du souverain. Est-ce que mes oreilles me jouent des tours, ou bien es-tu en train de remettre en question ce que fait notre souverain? Je te rappelle que je faisais partie de la l'a accompagné sur Dana lors du précédent tournoi de la couronne. Il a fait preuve d'excellence en tant qu'homme et en tant qu'expert en art astro. Je suis certain qu'il a déjà un plan d'action. En attendant qu'il nous donne des nouvelles, nous devons simplement faire confiance à son appréciation. Monsieur.
Ridiculous.
Répugnant. Oh, je ne suis jamais très content de ce que je lis sur Volran. Que puis-je faire pour vous?
Okay.
J'ai toujours été un fervent admirateur du seigneur Urwagil Ildris. Et s'il n'était pas soudainement mort à la surface, je le serais toujours. À mes yeux, le seigneur Urwagil reste le véritable seigneur de l'eau. Je ne crois pas un instant qu'il ait pu mourir dans un soi-disant accident. Quant à la façon dont Volran dirige le clan Ataros, il paraît qu'il a réduit à l'esclavage ses compatriotes rhéniens en plus des Daniens. Nous vivons peut-être dans une société où l'adage « au vainqueur le butin » est de mise, mais il agit à l'encontre des valeurs que notre peuple défend. Et puis, quelles sont les origines de cette maison Ignézérie à laquelle il appartient exactement? Je n'en avais jamais entendu parler avant qu'il arrive au pouvoir, ce qui ne peut vouloir dire qu'une chose, c'est de la populace. Qu'un artiste astral capable de s'élever au rang de seigneur puisse appartenir à une lignée aussi infâme est une hérésie. Rien de tout cela n'a le moindre sens, sans parler de toute cette agitation qui nous secoue ces derniers temps. Que se passe-t-il donc?
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volran either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganath Harrows changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Renna, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Renna.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Renwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
Terminé, cool. Parfait, parfait, parfait. Ok. PC accumulé. Non. Non. Fais-moi voir ça. Donc, voilà, passé. Là, je peux. Et ouais. Terminus. Déesse de la gentillesse. Tout ça c'est bon, tout ça c'est bon, tout ça c'est bon. Et ben, on va aller sur celui-ci. Explosion. Dohalim, pas encore. Je pourrais lui faire ça, tiens. Mais non, je vais rester sur ça. Et yeah, Renwell. Et du coup, c'est terminus pour les fans de plumes. Bon, on va partir sur celui-là. Charge magique plus rapide, ça c'est cool. Non, on reste ça. Là, oui. On va aller sur ça. Ok, je vais continuer de fouiller de toute façon. Au bout là-bas, il n'y a rien, donc je vais aller faire voir si j'y suis, au cas où. Il se fout par terre, papy, là. Vous m'avez sauvé la vie. Je ne serais plus de ce monde si vous n'étiez pas arrivée au bon moment, madame. Je sais que nous sommes en plein tournoi de la couronne, mais j'ignorais qu'une telle experte en art astro vivait parmi nous. Pardonnez-moi. Allons, vous n'avez pas besoin de vous incliner de la sorte. Je n'ai fait que frapper ce zeugle sur son point faible. Je n'ai même pas été sélectionnée pour participer au tournoi de la couronne sur Dana, alors je ne sais que penser de vos éloges excessifs. Fait flipper. Là-bas, il y a que dalle, je peux pas y aller. Tu dis quoi, mademoiselle? Où est ma maison? Je ne sais pas comment rentrer. Oh. Et eux, ils servent à quoi, là? Désolé, mais l'accès est réservé au personnel autorisé. Ce secteur a subi des dégâts considérables. Faites le tour. Ce serait pas par là, par hasard? En tant que membre de la caste supérieure, je vous ordonne de nous trouver un moyen de nous rendre dans le quartier voisin. Non, je vous en prie. Vous ne pouvez pas demander ça à un vieil homme alors que les eugles courent partout en liberté. C'est exactement la raison pour laquelle c'est vous qui devez vous en charger. Vous n'allez quand même pas oser défier mon autorité maintenant, si? Sale con. Le quartier résidentiel est en ruine. Les routes sont détruites et nous n'avons plus de courant. Les terminaux de communication sont aussi hors service. Impossible de contacter un seul de nos compatriotes régnants sur Dana. Je me demande si le souverain est au courant de ce qui se passe. Bah... Je suis pas sûre. Il y a quoi? Il y a des coffres ou pas? Ouais. Donne-moi ça, donne-moi ça, donne-moi ça. Gelée de raisin. Oui. Faites quoi? Père, qu'est-ce qui se passe? J'ai peur. Je ne sais pas, fils. C'est la première fois que je vois se produire une chose pareille depuis que je suis à l'Inégis. Il y a toujours un décret, avant chaque événement. Cette fois, non seulement il n'y en a pas eu, mais en plus le quartier résidentiel a été ravagé. Est-ce que ça veut dire qu'il se passe quelque chose de grave? Possible. Pour le moment, tout ce qu'on peut faire, c'est attendre et espérer que tout s'arrange. Ouais. T'es d'un grand réconfort, toi. Oh.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfried Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfried whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegus?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegus from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then.
Tout à
Let's get a
fait.
move on.
Let's go. Arrêtez de parler, bande de bavardes. C'est pas possible ça. Moi je veux juste des coffres. Comment est-ce que ça a pu se produire? L'énergie, c'est le bastion de l'ordre et de la stabilité depuis des années. Quand est-ce que la roue a tourné? Il n'y a pas de coffre. Pas de coffre. Oh, quoi encore?
Doe?
Faria.
Oh.
Varia?
Ouh,
Isn't
elle est
that the person
jolie.
that Amakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait, don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already.
Wow. Elle est cache.
Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Oh la vache. Elle est vraiment dégueulasse, l'autre rouge. Avec ses yeux noirs là, fait trop flipper.
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
Ah oui, c'est
The
vrai.
mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Mais qu'est-ce qu'il a fait? Moi, je veux savoir. Ah, d'accord. Que dalle. Ah, là, il y a un coffre. Je m'en veux de fuir alors que des enfants sont en train de se battre. Pas la peine de s'inquiéter pour eux, ils sont issus de familles de rang bien plus élevés que le nôtre. Leurs arts astraux sont donc plus puissants, il ne faut que remplir leurs devoirs envers la société en tant que membre de l'élite gouvernante. Je sais bien, mais ça me perturbe. C'est grand là, par contre. Ça s'arrête jamais leur délire ou comment ça se passe? Il n'y a pas de coffre. Ça va? Tout va bien? Ça va? Et vous, ça va? Quel bazar! Combien de temps est-ce que ça va encore durer? Je ne sais pas. En principe, on aurait dû recevoir des ordres depuis les hautes sphères pour que chaque caste sache... Putain, c'est dur à dire. Pour que chaque caste sache ce qu'elle a à faire. La vache. Mais ça n'arrivera pas, je crois. On dirait que toute la chaîne de commandement de cette ville s'est brisée. Personne ne sait ce qui se passe, mais ça ne veut pas dire qu'il n'y a pas quelqu'un quelque part qui épie le moindre de nos faits et gestes. Pour le moment, essayons de trouver une personne de rang supérieur dans le coin. Elle aura peut-être une idée de ce qu'on doit faire. Ouais, que dalle, y a que dalle. Ah, un coffre. Je t'ai vu, je t'ai vu. Du tofu, miam miam. Ok, là y a rien. Vous parlez. L'enclos est dans un sale état. Qui sait combien de gens sont morts? Et les aigles, où sont-ils? Ils ne se sont quand même pas échappés. Non, heureusement, on a pu boucler le périmètre avant qu'ils n'aillent trop loin. Mais les autres quartiers ont été envahis. Mon petit doigt me dit qu'il doit y avoir des aigles en liberté un peu partout sur les Négis. Et ils sont probablement bien plus nombreux que nous. Qu'est-ce qu'on va faire? Tous nos meilleurs soldats sont stationnés sur Dana. Ah bah bravo, c'est intelligent. Oh, de la verdure.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renin sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnigan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend.
Ah,
As well as Faria's betrothed.
d'accord.
Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnigan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord.
Et voilà.
Tarnigan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnigan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
Bah bien sûr que si.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less, she would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty, instead I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renin oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen,
C'est qui ça?
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
Bah oui, hein.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
Et l'autre. Si les choses ne se calment pas rapidement, on devrait peut-être embarquer dans un vaisseau spatial et s'enfuir. Pas le nôtre, hein, oh. Impossible. Il faut l'autorisation du souverain pour monter dans un vaisseau, sauf si c'est pour participer au tournoi de la couronne. Ah oui. Et il est où, le souverain? Pourquoi est-ce qu'il n'est pas là au moment où nous avons le plus besoin de lui pour nous guider? Je suis bloqué dans quoi, là? Si la rumeur dit vrai, il n'y a pas que les Eugles qui sont hors de contrôle. Tout un groupe de soldats en armure serait en train de se rebeller. Il se pourrait bien que nous assistions au début d'une sorte de révolte, vous ne croyez pas? C'est absurde, voyons. Qui pourrait donc ourdir un tel complot et imaginer pouvoir s'en tirer en toute impunité? C'est vrai que quand on se révolte contre le souverain, on se révolte contre toute la civilisation rhénienne. Mais quoi qu'il en soit, c'est difficile à dire. Rien de ce genre ne s'est jamais produit dans l'histoire de l'Enégis. On n'en sait pas assez. Il n'y a pas de coffre, ils font chier. Il n'y a rien ici en fait, ça sert à quoi?
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
Non. Bon, d'accord. Fournisseur, est-ce que mes yeux me trompent ou ai-je l'honneur d'accueillir le seigneur Dohalim et ses serviteurs dans ma boutique? Que puis-je faire pour vous? Oh, Gladius, reine. Je peux la faire. Ah ouais, je préfère 10 fois faire les armes. Ah, tir d'assaut. Ah, j'ai pas de sous, merde. Il me faut là le pognon et j'en ai pas. Qu'est-ce que je fais? Faut que je vende des trucs. C'est moche. J'en veux pas. Moi, je vais attendre pour avoir ça direct. On va prendre celle-là. Je vais attendre de trouver des crocs de titan et crinière sombre. Ok.
You can never be too prepared. But did we have to spend so much?
Oui, j'avais besoin de dépenser tout ça. Ça alors, je n'aurais jamais cru rencontrer un jour le seigneur Dohalim et ses compagnons. S'il y a quoi que ce soit que je puisse faire pour vous... Bon, on va dormir. Et on va bouffer... Tiens, ça c'est cool. Alphen.
I came out great. Everyone's gonna be real surprised.
Ça a l'air trop bon. C'est un honneur de tous vous servir, messire, vraiment. Ok, bon, les amis, je pense qu'on va s'arrêter ici pour cet épisode. On aura bien progressé puisqu'on a finalement décollé et nous sommes bien atterris sur l'Enégis. Et on a commencé à découvrir cet endroit et ce qu'il se passe ici. Donc j'ai hâte d'en apprendre plus. Mais pour le moment, on va s'arrêter ici et j'espère que cet épisode vous aura plu les amis. Si c'est le cas, n'hésitez pas à me lâcher un max de pouces bleus, à partager la vidéo et à vous abonner si ce n'est pas encore fait. On se dit à très bientôt pour la suite de ce let's play. Prenez soin de vous les amis. Bye!